So, of course, this is a bit of a shock to the investment community when you look at the reaction from the market with regards to base resources. But from the Chamber of Mines perspective, to what extent did government consult with either the Chamber of Mines or the mining sector on these new laws?
There was a mention about local equity participation when we were drafting the draft mining bill of 2012, but there was no agreement as to the percentage of local equity that was going to be incorporated into the law. But it was mentioned to the stakeholders that the government is taking this perspective of incorporation of local equity. And so we learned about the 35% following a gazette notice that the minister put out sometime in 12th October.
So, of course, you know, there is the understanding from a market's perspective that this could be a negative when it comes to investment in the mining sector. But before we take a look at that, what are your views right now as to exactly what the changes government, the type of changes government is hoping to install when it comes to these mining laws? Could you break down your understanding of them for us?
Okay. The intention, as stated by the minister when he was discussing the issue of local equity participation, is to ensure that some of the wealth in exploiting these minerals still remains in the country, whereby the discussion has been that all the loans and all the sort of the loans and the agreements people have gotten into, investors have gotten into, they've all been secured by minerals and resources that are in Kenya. So his argument then is, why shouldn't the local people be a part of this? Why shouldn't the Kenyans themselves be given a chance to participate in this lucrative venture, where if it's equity being raised to finance these operations, whether in exploration or in mining, why can't some of the equity also be raised locally to ensure then that there's benefits from these operations that will still be left in the country?
Yeah.
So that was the reasoning, as the minister explained it, for the purpose of local equity. But of course, it will have a lot of effect on current operators in the industry, since when they were being issued their licenses, it was based on the current law, so where it was not required to have this local equity. And suddenly, midway, the dynamics have changed, and you're asking companies then to raise 35% local equity. So the industry is asking for guidelines on implementation and a sort of lenience on time frame. So for them to be able to find out channels, available channels for them to be able to source for this local equity, and to see how best to go about it in order to adhere with the new regulation that has been issued.
Very, very quickly, how would this affect, for example, the Kwale mining project, which is, of course, the largest mining project to come on stream in Kenya? I mean, that's $275 million. How would that affect their project right now, given it's already a mining license that's been given out? All right.
For if you just read the law as it is right now, it just says that any existing holder of a license of a mineral right shall incorporate 35% local equity. So the direct interpretation of that regulation is then base resources needs to look for a way to incorporate 35% local equity in its operations, you know, given the current value of its shares, to look for local equity. So of course, this affects base heavily, because the project for base had already been structured with so many other agreements, with so many other investors. They also have a very specialized concession from government based on a lot of agreements with various departments in government. So theirs is a very unique case. Their project is also very large. And of course, the impact then to their project is very massive. And the minister then must give guidelines on how such a project should be handled, and what sort of discussions then is he open to, given the dynamics of the base resources projects. Because for any other companies that are just starting out or seeking licenses, then it's a bit easy for them to look for ways to incorporate this new law. But for people who had already, like for base, they had a lot of discussions and a lot of agreements signed with various agencies in government, and their case becomes a bit unique in this situation.